Welcome to Dan's haunted cottage. Step inside if you dare.
Right guys, so we are now at the second destination for our historical tour of Yorkshire, and we are at Monk's Priory in Bretton. So it's kind of a bit derelict now really, it's sort of broken down, there's just remnants of it. I think Ricky said that he thinks it was a folly at one point, he thinks that that was actually initially built as. But according to the signpost over there, which we'll have a look at in a bit, this it is a proper priory, so interesting stuff all round. Let's have a look at this.
Across the road, if we've got time, we're going to go over there. You'll see there's a pub there, it's called the Black Monks, and it's listed itself as the oldest pub in England, although there's a few for that container, I can tell you. And it was basically the monastery. It was run by the monks. It was part of the whole monastery, and they used to... What did they do there, Ricky? What did they do in that building, the pub?
It was originally a mill.
It was a mill. Okay.
Water mill for the monks.
Oh, okay, so it's a water mill for the monks. So, yeah, but hopefully we'll get in there and have a cup of coffee a little bit later.
The monks?
And I'm sure we will speak to you in a second.
Right, guys, I hope that's a bit better. I was filming a bit too close in your face there. So the monastery behind me was, it was kind of built in about 1281, I think it was, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
it was the Black Monks. As I showed you, the pub over way, the oldest pub in England, apparently.
Benedictine monks.
Benedictine monks, but they were also known as the Pontefract monks. And this is, we were talking how it ties in, that this monastery here, where the Black Monks were, and it's the Pontefracts. Oh, you think they were chucked out?
They were Celestial monks, I'm not too sure how it all works.
Okay. But irrespective, the Black Monk, if you look at 30 East Drive, which is where the Black Monk is said to haunt, that was said to be the in-house poltergeist there, and I've done a couple of investigations from there. In actual fact, one of them is on my videos, if you want to look at it. He would have been here. This is where he would have come from. So it all ties in. So he would have been one of the Black Monks from this monastery, the Pontefract Monastery. How interesting is that? But again, this fell foul of the dissolution, 1500s, and due to Henry VIII, it was kind of seized and fell apart. And what you have today is, sadly, the remnants of what was at one point probably a fantastic and amazing building. So we're going to have a look. Let's have a look over there, guys.
Right, so there's the what was the entrance, the old gatehouse, which I think was a 15th century adage. If we sweep around there, we're going to go in. If you sweep around there, you can see what's left of the old monastery. Pretty cool. And Ricky is making his way towards it, as you can see. Look at this, guys. This is the old gateway. Very cool. Very, very cool. Some stonework. Just stunning. You can't buy that. Here we go, guys. Going towards the entrance of the monastery. Just up there. And as you walk, the monks of this priory. Dedication. Let's have a look. Some more. It does go on. It's kind of rambling. But obviously, monasteries are humongous, so it's to be expected. As you can see, it's right near a housing estate.
I think this bit is the gatehouse. This is well,
from Coronation Explorations, it said there used to be a
So Ricky's had all sorts of things here, he was saying, and she saw a shadow move across that window one evening when he was out here doing an investigation, which, you know, paranormal activity, as I said before, guys, happens at any time, night, day, evening, morning, whenever you choose. It's always there. It's not just at night time. So hopefully, you never know, we may pick up something, stray EVP, or even a shadow on the one of our videos. Let's see, shall we? Look at that, guys. I hope the shadow's not, or the darkness is not overshadowing the photo shoot, the shots. But yeah, this is the entrance now. Pardon the dog barking in the background there. So pretty cool. Let's go inside and look at this. Look at that, different angle. Very cool. Humongous amount of ground here. It sweeps all the way down there. So let's have a little venture, shall we? A look-see, as I like to say. Alright guys, let's go in here. It's the old gateway, the 15th century gateway to the monastery, as was. Oh, look at this. How's this for historical? Just amazing. Step up there. Go into here. Remnants of an old fireplace, I should imagine. It was up here that Ricky saw the shadow. Obviously there's no floor there, so your guess is as good as ours. As you can see, now deep in the what was the monastery. Imagine that, guys. Way back to the 1200s. Way back. I believe at one point there was 13 monks that just used to run the whole monastery. I think it was Cistercians at one point, and Benedictines, and then it was the Black Monks of Pontefract. So you can see the old gatehouse. An old arrow slot. Just stunning. Let's go and have a look at this window. There you go, guys. How's that for shots? How's that for history?
So the thing is, guys, as I've said before, you know, this would have been a thriving industry. You know, the monks were into all sorts of things, brewing, banking systems, everything. They really had a finger in each pie. And of course, they were the head of, or they were part of the church at the time, which was the Holy Roman Catholic Church, and it was answerable to Rome. Of course, as I've said before, during the 1500s, when Henry VIII came to power and he wanted a divorce, and the Church of Rome said that he wasn't allowed to do that. They said, no, you can't annul your marriage, you can't get divorced. So he thought, well, stuff that, then what I shall do is I shall disband the Church of Rome in this country, and I shall be the head of the new church, and there will be no ruling over me. So he kind of even set himself up as above God at that point. And in doing so, he tore down the monasteries. To be a Catholic was illegal and frowned down upon. You know, priests to hold masses was illegal. People used to do it in their homes and their houses. They had the Catholic priest around, and this is where you get priest holes from. It was a way of hiding one of the clergy, one of the Catholic man of the Catholic cloth in your home without being found out. And it was all done sort of cloak and dagger. It had to be very surreptitious. And because of that, he decided to destroy any paraphernalia to do with the Catholic Church, and that's what they did. And that's why it's all fallen into rack and ruin. So he disbanded the Catholic Church. He took their monies, I believe. He took the power back. And yeah, and that was the story of Henry VIII. Now, think of him what you will. It's not for me to, you know, they say history will be the best judge of someone. And I think that's the case now. So, yes, a very powerful man. Maybe a great king in many respects, I'm sure. But also a tyrant. But I guess that's what you have to be a king or a queen or a leader of an empire at that point in time, and probably still in some parts of the world today, as we know. So yeah, but still an interesting piece of history. And as I said earlier when I was with Ricky, this is where the Black Monk of Pontefract would have actually been in situ. This is where he would have been part of the church. This would have been his monastery, and he would have worshipped here and done his daily chores here, and his ecclesiastical, whatever it may be. And it's interesting to know that the Black Monks of Pontefract, of which he was one, this is where they emanated from. And we now have the poltergeist of the Black Monk in 30 East Drive, which I think is quite intriguing how it all ties in. And obviously the the pub across the road, which Terry said used to be a mill, well, now that's a public house, and it advertises itself as the oldest public house in England. As I said, there's many shooters for that medal, and that's just one of them. But you know, that was run by the monks as well. So yeah, it's interesting. It's amazing how it all ties in, and we come back to this point. So let's have another look around, shall we? See what else we can see. It's really fascinating, this place. I hope you're enjoying it, guys. I hope you're enjoying it. And let me apologise profusely for not being able to do the video last night because of my back, and the one on Saturday because unfortunately one of the team was ill, and without her we couldn't really do it, because she's a integral part of the machine, as it were. So let's crack on.
Beautiful views over there. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. There you go. We're walking towards the main part of the main body of the monastery, which I'm guessing would have been the cathedral or the church. And we've seen this building here, which I think now is a residential cottage. It does look that way. Yep, residential. Let's have a look, guys. It's breathtaking here. How's that for a shot? So there's history book over here. So yes, this would have been a priory church, as was. So look at this board. So let's see the layout. And let's get our bearings. Presbytery, sacristy, and chapel. Okay. Go into what was the church, if we can. See if there's steps down here. Oh, there are. Indeed, there are. Oh, an old doddery old boy now. Up there. It's what was part of an old stairwell. Must have gone up a turret at some point. Through there. And yeah, it's just amazing, isn't it? Just phenomenal. And that, I'm guessing, well, that was the church, with the sacristy over one point over there, I believe, and presbytery over there, or the other way around. So phenomenal.
So I think what I'm going to do, guys, nearly. I think what I'm going to do, that got the better of me then. So I think what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to call that a day for this building. And I know it's not paranormal per se, but it's always the history of places that intrigues me as well. And as I say, for me, the two of them tie in, the paranormal and the history of hand in glove. And that is what I wanted to really bring to my channel. And so, even though we didn't get any paranormal activity, or we didn't go on a ghost hunt, as I say, we did get to look at some amazing buildings, and I hope that you enjoy that. I hope you like that. And again, a million apologies for not being able to do a proper investigation over the weekend, but it will come, I promise. It's just an unfortunate set of circumstances that have led to this situation. So let's crack on anyway and see what else is out there for your delectation.
Tom, look, it's like Spider-Man. He's climbed up there. The man is fearless. Long gone are my days of being able to do that.
So guys, I've literally just
Is that they're filming now? Look.
staircase.
Madness. One slip. Yeah, I would laugh, Tom. I would. Excellent. I just want to give you that.
So there you go. It's behind me. Some of the monastery, absolutely stunning. The two guys have gone, they're doing lives, but they're braver than me. So Tom's just lost his connection. He's had problems with his energy and the batteries. They drain. I'm not saying it's anything paranormal or spiritual, but it's just quite an odd thing that happens. And it tends to happen quite a lot at haunted properties. Some people believe it's the possibility that it's an energy or a spirit draining that energy to finance its own, really, to boost itself. I kind of subscribe to that purely and simply because I've had a lot of drainage on batteries and from cameras and equipment throughout the years at haunted places that haven't drained anywhere else. So yeah, but it's a phenomenal place. I know I did say that was I was going to call it a day, but I'm just blown away by it. It's just amazing. It's like the history of it is amazing. I mean, you imagine how austere it must have been living here and leading that, as I say, ecclesiastical lifestyle, which was you had nothing. Everything that you owned, well, everything that you were was owned by the church. And it was not just austere. It was I would imagine a vicious lifestyle at that period, a really hard go. I mean, these must have been tough men, and it just amazes me that we're sitting here now where that history played out. We're sitting here now where those stories unfolded and where those men were. It's a different world. I was saying earlier, we were looking at the pits and we were looking at this place, and even though the pits was quite a few centuries later, it was still a really poor, hard, tough existence. Because I mean, it was a life as such, but it was more or less existence. These guys were eking out a living on, if you could call it a living, on the minimal, but the hardest input and the minimal outtake. And you got youngsters today, I'm going on a rant now, you got youngsters today that moan if they had to work an hour extra, or they don't get Saturday off. I'm not saying that's a bad thing or a wrong thing, but I'm just saying how times have changed and how our view on life has changed, and our outlook and our perception of what's right, what's acceptable and what isn't. But I couldn't lace these guys' boots up. Not that they would have worn boots, may have been sandals, but whatever it was, I certainly couldn't lace them up. And it just blows me away. It just is absolutely, look at that. It is absolutely breathtaking. And that's it. So I promise that is me finished here. So we'll move on to the next venue now, guys. See you in a minute.